Let's take a look at Wednesday in the NBA. The hits keep coming injury-wise. We'll talk about that and some options for streaming on Wednesday. Michael Bolton.
Thanks, Josh. It's Michael Bolton here, and it's time for another episode of the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast. Let's get to it.
Let's get to it, indeed.
You are Locked On Fantasy, your daily NBA fantasy podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome to the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast, brought to you by Basketball Monster. My name is Josh Lloyd, and I've made a decision that it's Sikowski who's the biggest gossip in town. I'm also the lead fantasy analyst at basketballmonster.com, and you can find me on Blue Sky at joshlloyd.bsky.social, on Twitter at redrock_bball, on TikTok at redrock_bball, and on Instagram at Locked On Fantasy Basketball. Thank you for making Locked On Fantasy Basketball your first listen every day. We are free. We are available on all platforms, so hit the thumb and the comment and listen on the audio and watch the video. Do both those. Also, check out lockedondaily.com and find the best newsletter for your favorite NBA team. It is National Absinthe Day, a completely overrated spirit, which overpowers whatever you put it in, even if you just put it as a rinse in a glass. Me. By the way, I asked a question the other day if you thought I ever worked as a bartender. I have never ever worked a day of hard manual labor in my life. Untrue. But I've never worked as a bartender. I'm just an amateur bartender at home. And absinthe, not good. I've got it in a little spray bottle for absinthe rinses. Haven't moved up to like fat washes yet on my glassware. But I've got some absinthe. I hate it. It's not nice. Anyway, shout out to absinthe, I guess. We're here to talk about Wednesday's action. A couple of injury updates. You know about Kyrie already. And then we got the news of Jaren Jackson Jr., Grade 2 ankle sprain. Now, I will say this about Memphis. They're Mount Rushmore terrible injury reporting, and they have many times confused the severity of ankle sprains. Remember Desmond Bane's Grade 3 ankle sprain? And then he came back in the timeline for a Grade 2. I believe they did it with Ja Morant and his knee injury 2 years ago as well. So, I don't know what they mean. They don't know what they mean. A Grade 2 is 4 weeks-ish, I guess. They're calling him week to week, so that's week to week has got to be it's at least one clearly. It's almost definitely minimum 2. I'm going to say it's 4 weeks for Jaren Jackson. Now Santi Aldama missed the last game. He's questionable for their next game, so he will be the add everywhere if he's available. So is Zach Edey. They're the two guys you add. The guys who will get the bumps off the bench are going to be Vince Williams and GG Jackson. Vince has a much better fantasy game than GG, especially in category leagues versus points, but they're still going to be playing bench roles. The other guy to look at is going to be Brandon Clark, who's going to get a big bump as well. And Clark's got enough in 23 minutes to be a fantasy option as well. So this does, as much as it sucks for the Grizzlies to lose their best player, you're going to have Edey, Aldama in certain leagues available. Then you can go to Clark and Vince, and then deeper leagues you can go to GG Jackson. So we got that. We also got Julian Strouder out for 4 weeks. Not that matters that much. But that's one that we also got announced also. And obviously there was the Kyrie one. And then the rumors about Anthony Davis. Shams reporting that maybe there's the end of the season coming, which is something we've talked about for weeks on this show. And the skepticism and trying to read between the lines of things people say. The fact that they keep just throwing in, oh, maybe he can avoid surgery, means that he was never going to come back. Right? They just were trying to PR play it. And I think losing Kyrie, which you can't sugarcoat, gives them an out to say, yeah, I guess we're not doing anything now, so we'll sit him down, he'll have surgery, he'll rehab it, he'll be ready to go. I'm pretty sure, or the team's been pushing Anthony Davis and his team's got, bro, like, I can't move, man. I need surgery. Like, what are we doing? Kyrie's done. Let me get it now so I'm ready for next season. That's how in my head, with all my fantasies, that's how I play out that stuff happening. I believe that Davis was never really a significant shot of returning. Maybe if they made it into the play-in, he'd be available. But my take on it all the time has been, this is serious, it's significant, and they are hiding it while dropping little clues through releases to tell you that it's not happening, but trying to placate the fans. And the fact that it comes now, after the Kyrie news, makes it feel like, from a PR perspective, that they can go, yeah, of course we can say that now because, it makes sense. But I believe this has always been the case. And so we've discussed it that way all along. Well, I think I have, maybe, unless my memory's failing. I'm pretty sure we have. All right. Let's get in and talk about streaming options. Let's talk about Wednesday. Let's talk about the teams that are coming into Wednesday on a back-to-back. the Cavaliers, the Clippers, the Bucks, the Timberwolves. They're all playing on Tuesday. The Cavs are going to be one to watch because they're already resting Mobley on Tuesday. Is anyone else going to be rested on Wednesday? I don't know. Garland and Allen have got to be ones to watch. Kawhi's going to sit for the Clippers, I'm certain. Ben Simmons may or may not be available, don't know. Powell won't play, I'm certain. The Bucks, well, Kuzma, Lillard, Yanni. Kuzma was doubtful. I believe he's been upgraded to questionable, so I don't know what's going on there. So we'll see what they're doing. And then the Wolves, Julius Randle and Rudy Gobert. We'll see how they go through that back-to-back as well. In terms of the back-to-backs Wednesday to Thursday, well, we've talked about this when we talked about streaming plan for this week. There's only one team that does Wednesday, Thursday. It's the Celtics. So the Celtics, they're the only team we hit for Wednesday, Thursday. But it is an interesting time to stream Celtics because of absences. And things could open up, and we'll talk about that at the end of the show. If we want to take a look at some chunky stuff, Wednesday through to Sunday, this is 3 games for the remainder of the week. These guys are all 30% rostered or below on Yahoo. Kris Dunn just should be rostered. Donovan Clingan still at 30%. People dropped him because he had played 11 minutes in a game. You're well aware of my thoughts on him. But my key thought for you that matters at the moment is he's a must-roster fantasy player, so yeah, going at him. Keon Ellis was disgusting in the last game. Really bad. But, like we talk about, if someone shoots 80%, it won't hold. If someone shoots 0, it also won't hold. So he's going to bump back up, and the minutes will fine. So yeah, I think he's a rosterable guy. And then there's 3 Mavericks guys here with Kyrie out. Najee Marshall, Max Christie, and Spencer Dinwiddie. 3 games, 5 nights. All 3 of those guys are 12-team worthy. I actually prefer Dinwiddie and Marshall slightly above Christie, but they're all useful. And honestly, it's a coin toss if I had a coin that had 3 sides on it. So if you want to go, hey, Marshall over Dinwiddie, sure, do it. Christie's over Spencer, no problem. Go for it. Knock yourself out. All of those guys are reasonable options. Kai Jones could be, but what if PJ Washington returns and he plays 1 of the 3 or 2 of the 3? So remember, Kai has 11 games left that he can play. And I don't know if they just play 11 straight and then get rid of him, or he plays a couple and sits in and out and they try and space it out. I don't know because they haven't told us. And I really don't know how to guess at that. There's realistically no way. But one thing I will say with that is that if I think it's fair to assume that if PJ Washington is out, that Kai Jones will play. They'll use those games for those days. Let's take a look at some key injury statuses that we've got to be aware of. It's the Cavs is one, just who is going to sit. I think Mitchell's fine. Mobley will play Wednesday, but then Garland, Allen, we don't know. Davion Mitchell's questionable. And then the Celtics, Jaylen Brown, Jayson Tatum, both questionable. Porzingis and Drew are doubtful. They went through the charade the Celtics are putting Porzingis and Holiday as questionable, and then 2 hours later changed them to doubtful. So I don't know who's running the injury report, but Brown and Tatum. Back to back. Teams have to preserve. We are 5.5 weeks from playoffs. Teams are going to be cautious. Jeremy Grant's questionable. Will he play a game in March? Jordan Poole's off the injury report. So there you go. And they're against a shocking team, the Jazz. So there you go. The Jazz guys, by the way, as expected, they're out. The Jazz quintet. Soft Yaz. Those guys are all out. Kessler, Markkanen, Collins, Clarkson, Sexton. As expected, all sitting out. Could easily do it again on Friday as well. Be prepared for it. Another bunch of injury statuses to take a look at. Keyshawn George is questionable. Julius Randle and Gobert. Gobert is out Tuesday. Randle's playing Tuesday. Gobert might play Wednesday. Randle might sit. I'm not sure. Kuzma and then other Bucks perhaps. And then the Nuggets dropped a couple of injury report ones, which is interesting. Big Chungus is questionable. Nikola Jokic. All right. If he is out, DeAndre Jordan does become a stream. So does Zeke Naji. Aaron Gordon also questionable. And we know that Julian Strouder has been ruled out. But interestingly, Peyton Watson is questionable. So Watson and old mate Vlatko Cancar, who I talked about, how we got no info on, he's apparently back. There you go. Cancar, ready to go. Ready to rock. And then the last batch there, well, I had Jaren on this list before we got the diagnosis, so he's out. Ja Morant and Santi Aldama both questionable. Obviously, if Ja is out, then we're really looking to Luke Kennard. Scottie Pippen below that. If Aldama is out, then it is a lot of Brandon Clark, a lot of Zach Edey, a lot of Vince Williams, a lot of G.G. Jackson. And then Tobias Harris, who missed the last game for personal reasons, and Ben Simmons, who's 2 out in a row here with knee soreness. Maybe he's available, remembering that Kawhi Leonard won't be available to play in that game on Wednesday. Today's episode is brought to you by Open Phone. If you're running a small business, that means you wear a lot of hats. Your personal phone becomes your business phone. Before you know it, You have to juggle all the different stuff that comes with a business on your home personal phone while you're doing personal stuff. It can be a nightmare. Well, OpenPhone is the #1 business phone system designed to help keep your work and personal lives separate. For just $15 a month, you get complete transparency and visibility into everything that's happening with your business phone number. OpenPhone works on an app on your phone or on your computer. You can track all that stuff. It provides AI-powered call transcripts and summary. It integrates with things like HubSpot and hundreds of other tools as well. You get rundowns of your calls, action items from them, plus automated messages in case you miss a call so you never miss an opportunity to engage. Right now, OpenPhone is offering 20% off your first 6 months when you go to openphone.com/LockedOnNBA. That is openphone.com/LockedOnNBA for 20% off for 6 months. Openphone.com/LockedOnNBA. And if you've already got a number, well, OpenPhone can port it over at no extra charge. Okay, so let's take a look at some streaming options now. We'll start with some points league moves, some Yahoo points and ESPN points. And today, the 6 names for both of those formats are the same. So I'll put both slides up, but it's the same list. Kyle Filipowski. I just think we've got to roster him at this stage. There is great opportunity here. We saw him play next to Kessler. I think we are getting very close to Markkanen and Collins being done. And this is the week where a lot of guys are out and they play a lot of bad teams. So yeah, you've just got to roster Filipowski at this point. Couple of Mavericks there, Najee Marshall, Spencer Dinwiddie, both strong ads in 12-team leagues. I've got Kris Dunn, who remains available in a lot of different spots. And with Powell and Jones and Kawhi and Simmons, a lot of guys out. So Dunn's got opportunities. And then if you want deeper leagues, Slam and Sammy Hauser. Now, he is a slight risk to sit the back-to-back, but his back seems to seem like it's okay a bit at the moment. So that's fine. And then KJ Martin in Utah, who should be able to get the start there on Wednesday. Hopefully play 30 minutes and put up enough value to be useful with all of those regulars out. For ESPN, like I said, I'll just put it up for completeness and transparency. It's all the same names: Filipowski, Marshall, Dinwiddie, Dunn, Hauser, and KJ Martin. We look now at some category league streaming options. We'll start with a points and threes combination. Duncan Robinson in Miami, there's a lot of guys out. Wiggins is still out there. Kal-El Ware is out. So Robinson should be getting 30 minutes. Now, this is what he does. He doesn't do much more, but you have good value in doing him. Well, you can do him however you want. Using him there, Sam Hauser, Max Christie, Bryce Sensabaugh, Alec Burks, and Spencer Dinwiddie. You might say, Burks, why would I do that? Well, he started the last 2 games and could be getting 26, 27 minutes. You could throw Terry Rozier in that mix as well. If Davion Mitchell is out, Rozier should start, but I don't know about Davion Mitchell, but Burks has been starting anyway. But it is Spoelstra, so anything could happen. They could change things up in many different ways. That is the old MO of how Spoelstra runs and organizes his rotations. If we look at assists and steals as streaming options, Cason Wallace, the Hong Kong mattress, he's played big minutes the last 2 games, and Alex Caruso is out again. Isaiah Joe is questionable. So there's a bit of a floor raiser there for Wallace and for Dort and for Wiggins also, but Wallace is a great steals guy, we know. Najee Marshall is an underrated passer and a good steals guy. He's a guy to just grab anyway, but we'll look at him here. Marcus Smart, yeah, okay. But he's going to get his 20 minutes, like 4 assists and 2 steals possible, maybe. Spencer Dinwiddie, it's mainly the assist side, but it's still enough. Kyle Anderson, I don't know whether Kyle Anderson will start. Do they go back to Kevin Love again for his 12 minutes of whatever? But Anderson can play 25 minutes. What did he have, like 5, 4, 3, and 2 in the last game? We know what he does. He's a good passer. The minutes are there. Wiggins and Ware being out, even if Anderson doesn't start, helps him get some significant value. And the last one for those deeper formats is Josh Green. Interestingly, the Hornets sent Nick Smith Jr. back to the G League. So what are they going to do? Are they going to start Damian Baugh? I guess, maybe. But that means that Josh Green should, because obviously Nick Smith takes shots. Green is really quite poor at the moment, and he can get some assists, he can get some steals, but that's deeper league sort of value there. But again, they're a weird team, I think, as we know. Let's look at some big man boards and blocks. Who can we look at here? A lot of these guys are just available in a lot of spots. Al Horford's a premier option here because there is no Porzingis. Horford played 35 and 36 minutes the last 2 games. I don't think that he plays that in this one, but still, we like that on Wednesday. Then you got Cornet and Cater as guys who are going to get a bump also. And then in Dallas, it is Kai Jones. Now, I think Kai Jones should just probably be grabbed at the moment to see what they do. But you've got to have the understanding. And people do push back on this at times. Again, I am illustrating it with Jones. Be cautious who you drop because I don't know what they're going to do. They might one-on, one-off game him, and that's useless. They might play him 4 in a row, then sit him. I don't know. I don't know how they're going to do any of that stuff. But I think at this point, with Washington out, he's at least a grab, and let's just see what they do. The other thing is that people will push back, hey, they got a 2-game playoff week. Who cares? Honestly, who cares? The 2-game playoff week thing, for the finals week of playoffs or whatever week you're in, that matters when you're drafting top-end talent. If you're drafting Luka in round 1, which obviously doesn't apply to. If you're drafting Kyrie Irving in round 2, which now obviously doesn't apply to. That's the decision where you go, I don't really want my best player to play 2 games in a playoff matchup when I could have got someone of similar equivalent value who plays double the amount. Right? But if you're talking about a guy at the back end of a roster for a situation that might happen 3 weeks away, don't worry about it. If you get to that week, and you've got Spencer Dinwiddie, Najee Marshall, Max Christie, Kai Jones, and they've got a 2-game week and it's in your finals, you know what you do? You drop them. You don't have to hold on to them. You don't stop yourself from adding them right now. Moves that you make right now. You should be looking at the long-term view. And by long-term, I mean what is happening in the next 48 hours. Because it doesn't matter. You don't stop yourself grabbing a Maverick replacement. Jones, Dinwiddie, Marshall, Christie, bloody even Exum's out the next game, but whoever it is, you go, because, when we get to 15th of March, we've got a 2-game wait. Doesn't matter. Ignore it. It doesn't mean a thing. You know what you can do? Adjust when you get there. It means nothing at this point. Nothing. Guess how much it means? Nothing. Anyway, Kyle Filipowski's in this mix. Now, I wish the man would block shots the way that he did in college. He just doesn't block any at all in the NBA. At some point, maybe it comes, but I don't know. Irrespective, he's going to get a lot of minutes. He's going to get rebounds, so he's there. And then Brandon Clark, who's going to get a big bump as well, given the Jaren Jackson injury and maybe the Santi Aldama absence, which again is something that I don't know about. For percentages, we'll take a look at 3 field goal percentage guys. The names we've already mentioned, KJ Martin, Luke Cornett, and the big fella in Memphis, Brandon Clark, available in so many different spots. Free throw percentage, Bryce Sensabaugh, Amir Coffey, the Farmers Union, and Max Christie, old Cormac Christie. Value in those 3 guys as free throw percentage streams. I'm going to come back and talk just to finish off the show with a streaming plan update. Today's episode, though, is brought to you by BetterHelp. Who is in your support system? Do you know? Who are the people that you lean on? Friends, family, mentors, professionals? Everyone needs somebody. Strong leaders, athletes, your friends. Everyone has some sort of support system, and therapy can be a great way to build a strong support system. It's not just for the bad times, the tough times. It's not just for trying to deal with, hey, what did these idiots do to my favorite NBA team? It can be for many different things. Importantly, building that strong support system helps you when the bad times happen. So things are in place already. And that's where BetterHelp can come in. BetterHelp is fully online. It makes it easier than ever to connect with a licensed therapist from anywhere. With over 30,000 professionals available, you can find the right fit, and you can switch at no extra cost if you do not click with that therapist. So build your support system with BetterHelp. Go to betterhelp.com/lockedonnba today to get 10% off your first month. That is BetterHelp, HELP.com/lockedonnba. Okay, so the last thing we want to look at here is the streaming plan for the weekly stream. I'm working on something at the moment that is a sort of automated. It's almost definitely not going to be released publicly. I don't know if it'll ever end up on Basketball Monster. It might depend. I don't run that tech stuff, but I'm working on something that's like an automated thing on the schedule where it goes, this is the way that you squeeze out the most games for the week. You type in how many moves you got. You type in how many streaming slots that you want to use. And it shows you these is the most you can get, and these are the ways that you can do it. So I'm working on that, and I'll say debut it, but I will use it on the weekly preview show next week as the base of how I do that. So that'll enable me an ability to show you what to do if you're in an ESPN league and you've got 7 moves, or you're in a 4-move league or whatever. 1 streaming slot, 2 streaming slots, 3 streaming slots. We'll talk about the best ways to do it because I am working on that tool. But at the moment, what we're doing is the way we've set it up already. So today is one of the days, or preparing for Wednesday is one of the days where you've got to make a move to get the extra Wednesday-Thursday combination game in. And this is the tough one because it is the Boston Celtics. And the guys that I added for the Monday-Tuesday back-to-back, Kris LeVert, maybe you just hold on to a Kris LeVert. But again, just for the idea of streaming through this. And would I drop Kris LeVert for 2 games of Sam Hauser? Probably not, honestly. I probably wouldn't because LeVert and the Cavs have got 3 games in 4 nights. But for the sake of me doing this, the guys that I'm looking at on this are Sam Hauser and Luke Cornett, because of the maybe Brown absence, maybe Tatum absence, definite Porzingis absence, definite Horford absence, and definite Holiday absence across these 2 games. Opens up abilities for Cornett and Hauser, who are available everywhere, to provide you numbers on those 2 back-to-backs. But the 2-slot stream doesn't apply for this day. That is the only one we're looking at. We're moving off the Monday-Tuesday back-to-back onto a Wednesday-Thursday back-to-back, and then we move on to a Friday-Saturday back-to-back after that for a 1-slot stream. And that is the end of the show. So, hopefully we don't get a chaotic day today in the NBA. Hopefully we're not getting multiple first and second round fantasy players going down for long periods of time. Hopefully we aren't getting teams getting destroyed in terms of their playoff chances. Memphis should have JJJ back, so that's okay. But man, it was brutal to see all that stuff happen. Hit the thumb on the video, subscribe down below. Guys, we are done here. Thank you so much for listening, everyone. See ya.